It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I've got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Okay, well, welcome everybody to the Daily Gun Show. I guess we got everybody here. This is I'm so bad at doing this. Anyways, it's a live show we do every day, 7 o'clock Eastern. Talk about tons of different gun topics every day. It's streaming live on YouTube and simulcast over on gun channels. We're watching the comments on both. It's an interactive show. We like to respond to your comments and questions and whatnot, so keep them coming. Give us a thumbs up, all that good stuff. There are 4 hosts, and all 4 of us are here, although kind of switching roles here a little bit. So first off, we got Bob somewhere in Canada.
Hey, glad to be here.
We got G-Webs from an undisclosed location in who knows where.
I'm in Tucson, Arizona.
Right, rock on. We got
United States.
Dano coming from Illinois.
Yep. Loud
and
proud.
Doing a horrible job being the host today is Smeggy from Michigan. How's everyone doing?
Doing just fine. Today we thought we'd kind of revise things a little bit, give Smeggy the microphone, let him tell us what to do for a show, which I'm sure he should enjoy. An hour of telling us what to do. I would think so.
Makes Smeggy happy, Dave.
Oh, no, I'm not a fan at all. I just stepped in because Gio wasn't able to start it. We're all a team. We're all in this together. So.
True that.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's not fitting you to really get back to the computers before the show. So thanks.
Oh. And apparently I'm the only one with the active phone number that responded to it anyways. So good thing I was around, I guess.
We can just make a little conversation, something that would kind of, sometimes when all the stars align perfectly, that's either when something wonderful happens or when the shit just hit the fan. And today, my phone is currently right now at a cell phone repair place, getting the battery that's not user replaceable replaced. It will hopefully be here tomorrow. And then Bob apparently doesn't get text messages through his Canadian phone. So
I can, but it just it's my phone number changes. That's all.
Yeah, it doesn't work properly. And then so Smeggy was the only one to get the message in regards to, by the way, we're going to have a little change today and do things a little different. So that's why things have changed. The stars were aligned just perfectly or just terribly, depending on your perception. So,
all right. Well, before we get into the show, we like to talk about anything that happened, yesterday, or in this case, since it's a Monday, over the weekend. So, do you guys have anything that happened?
Some good chats went on over the weekend.
Something that we'll talk about a little bit later on is there was a gun event that happened this weekend that I know several gun channel members were at. We'll talk more about that in detail a little bit further on into the show. But otherwise, I was sick all weekend, so I didn't enjoy this weekend at all.
Oh, well, that's a bummer. But yeah, you're right. TriggerCon was this weekend, so hopefully we'll get some reports in. Got some links out. But trying to think, there was something I saw earlier today too. Bummer. Oh, the California, I forget what it was, Attorney General or somebody. Remember a little bit ago where a judge blocked the 10-round magazine only, or I should say 30-round magazine ban, where originally it was going to be completely illegal to own. It's already been illegal to buy or sell for since the 90s or whatever. But the other ones were grandfathered in. That was going away. A judge put on an injunction, like, so that it didn't go through yet until they hear this case. Well, someone over in California is now challenging that injunction, trying to get that overturned even before, like, the other case that's going out to figure out if they're allowed to do that anyways, before that's decided, which would be pretty stupid. Well, it'd be bad for the people in California if that injunction goes away and then, okay, yep, you cannot own them. People would have to sell them, destroy them, turn them in, whatever. And then if the case goes through saying, hey, you guys aren't allowed to ban these, well, since you're not allowed to buy them, like, they'd be gone anyways. So that would be kind of a bummer.
Right. You know, and as much as I can't imagine, because all he did is he hit the pause button. And I can't imagine somebody saying, oh, no, you hitting the pause button on this while we looked at the issue more thoroughly is extremely illogical and not evidence or facts based or factually based.
Right.
But then again, what do they do that is evidence or based on the basic principle logic?
Plus, we're talking California here, so I mean, they're pretty Looney Tunes there most of the time anyway.
Well, I don't know if it's the region, not the regional, I forget the name, the district court that covers California plus some of the other adjoining states that would need to rule on that, unpressing the pause button, or who would exactly make that ruling?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, I forget even exactly who's challenging it, but like I said, it's almost one of those things that by doing that, it would make the court case that is trying to decide if they're even allowed to do it to begin with almost irrelevant. Because like I said, even if they decide like, yeah, the ban is not allowed, well, because you can't buy new ones and everyone already destroyed the ones they had because they're law-abiding citizens, then you wouldn't have any of them anyway. So even it's like, yeah, you're not allowed to ban them, but by the way, there's none in the state and you can't get any more.
But yeah, don't you guys have a law there that they can't make a law that makes you destroy your own property?
No.
Don't they have to pay you for it then?
No.
Nope.
I mean, very famous examples back, I believe it was, I can't remember the exact year, but back in the 1930s, when Roosevelt made the private collection or of gold illegal. So people had to literally turn in their gold by law and get zero compensation for it. Now, just because it was a law doesn't mean everybody did it.
Well, I think you'd have to be pretty stupid too, because gold.
And of course, that has been several decades ago.
Yeah.
But it's just an example of they can take it and they do not have to grandfather it and they do not have to compensate you for it.
That seems illegal.
Yeah, that seems ridiculous. I didn't know about that.
Now, with eminent domain, you will typically get compensated, but that's a real estate property issue.
Right. That's like when they want to build a road or something, or something that's for the good of the whole community. Yes. They take over your land and give you market value for it, or what supposedly what they say is just compensation. It may or may not be. Just want to mention here, we're joined by a special guest here today. He's going to talk about in our third topic, but we have Scotty Too Hotty.
Howdy. How y'all doing?
Great. Glad to have you on as our special guest this week.
Hey.
Or today.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here too, Hotty.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
So, all right. Well, something I did want to mention just before we get into the show. It's not something that happened over the weekend. It's something that's going to happen in the future, and that is Every Second Matters is coming up. We're almost into a new month, so in a couple days here, it's going to be the 2nd of the month, and we're going to have Every Second Matters. So just want to remind everyone, it's on the 2nd of the month, Dano.
Which is Wednesday.
There you go. That works. So, all right. Well, let us get into the show, unless you guys got something.
Nope. This week sounds good.
Okay. Yep. So our first segment of the first week, or first day of the week, is this week in Daily Gun Show. So we're going to talk about topics we're going to talk about. So today, I got how to use social media. We're going to talk about video games as a gun community-ish, and some other related things. Then we're going to talk about events, specifically TriggerCon, and then some of the stuff that's coming up. We'll go over to the calendar on gun channels and go over some of that stuff. Oops, I scrolled down way too far, so now I have no idea. All right, then on Tuesday, I went to scroll down a couple days, and I went down to like the end of the sheet. Anyways, Tuesday, Second Amendment issue is California a lost cause, and then we're still missing that middle topic. We'll have to figure something out. And then we also have State of the State. I'm not sure what state we're going to talk about. We really got to get that State of the State thing figured out. Maybe if we got some time after the show today, we'll fill those out, because somehow they didn't get copied over. Anyways, Wednesday, we have entertainment, old carnival gun games. Ooh, those are fun. Good idea, bad idea, assembling the ATF. And then we have the Instagram Daily Gun #DailyGunShow showdown. Those are always fun. So make sure if you're using Instagram, use #DailyGunShow. You'll be featured on the show, and you might win, and we get to fight about it. So that's always fun.
Yeah.
And then Thursday, we have CCW. I'm not sure what those are, but okay. Punisher backplate. Oh, Punisher backplates. I see. I was reading that backpacks. I'm like, what the heck's that about? I see. So they're gun accessory type stuff, cosmetic things. Then we have gun stuff. I'd like to know range games you can do at the shooting range. That'll be fun. And then training, retention holders, needed or not necessary. And then on Friday, talking about gun tech, there's gun care and maintenance, the gun biz, upselling guns unnecessary, ? Adding features that folks typically add, good idea, bad ideas. Wow, we have a lot of like good idea, bad idea type stuff. And then alternative gun topic, most useless tools you have purchased. I don't know if those are like, specific things that you thought you needed for a task, and then turns out it doesn't actually make it that much easier, or, whatever. We'll get into that on Friday. And of course, every day we'll have gun shops, movies, gun of the day, tactical quizzes, all that good stuff. So, actually, do we have movies filled in here? Let me scroll over a little bit.
No.
Bummer. Well, normally we give you what movies we're going to talk about, so you have a chance to watch them. Yeah, I guess maybe we should do another planning show or something, since I think everyone missed the other one.
Well, except for G-Webs.
Nobody at all at the other one. We could do another one.
I'm just saying, maybe. I mean, I'm available this weekend. I'd probably be able to hop in and do some of that. That's where we like to do, we'll do it on Saturday, I believe, sometime in the afternoon. I think it's earlier than we normally do this one. And then, we take live suggestions. We drop the link for Patreons. They're allowed to jump into the show, and their suggestions get fast-tracked right onto the schedule. And we try and fill in some of these gaps. So I really like those shows. I like interacting with the audience, and hey, we want to talk about stuff you want to hear us talk about. So that's always neat. All right, so I guess we'll jump over to the second segment of the show then. Yeah, but before we do, we always take the first break to mention a user over at Gun Channels. Gun Channels is a social community that we built. Well, it's a website, obviously gunchannels.com. It was built a while back. It's a place for any gun-related type stuff. You can do a whole bunch of stuff over there. Live chats, post pictures, videos, blogs, all sorts of different fun things with a lot of like-minded people. And today, our user is Flippy. People might know him as the Panda Bear. He does jumps in on the lobby chats and So always kind of a bit of a, I say, stirring the nest up a little bit, but generally a good guy.
You were
Funny
gonna
most
say
of the time.
you were going to say a dick, weren't you?
No, I wasn't.
No, I'm just kidding.
And the other thing is that he's also helped out Gun Channels in regards to his professional business that he's associated with, and helping getting some stickers and some other work done for Gun Channels, and we certainly appreciate that from Flippy as far as helping us out in that regards.
Yeah, he has been very helpful to us, and he knows I'm only shitting when I bug him about being a, what do they call those?
What, like a troll?
A furry.
Oh,
And it's just because of his panda costume icon. Although he apparently does have a panda head that he wears.
well, okay then.
Why don't we go into the next topic?
Yeah, definitely. So this was the how to use social media. I think this kind of counts. It's we're getting some echo here. Where's that coming from?
We were going to have Clover Tack on to talk about his equipment. Is he out in the chat? I texted with him earlier this morning, and then I got busy.
Oh, snap. Yeah, I can send a link over to Clover.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't written down. We were flying by the seat of our pants here.
You know, and actually, I should have remembered. We talked. G and I talked about that the other day. So yeah, sorry.
Well, okay. Well, in the meantime, why don't we go ahead and at least start this conversation while we're and see, because we don't know if that one will happen or not.
Or we could talk about our equipment. Yeah.
So
ahead,
can you see this? Can you see this thing?
Yes.
Yeah, your emergency brake pedal.
Nope, that's down there. That's that AT&T deal
Oh, okay.
port. So that's what's giving my phone Wi-Fi right now. But it's seeing signal from AT&T's cellular network, turning it into Wi-Fi in the vehicle, and now it's on Wi-Fi. So what's the
wow.
quality? Hear me okay?
It's actually pretty good.
Video's okay?
Yeah.
So let 5 people on. Now here's the bad news. Unfortunately, I got bad news. The Canadian version of this lets 10 people on.
Really? Well, I'm gonna have to get the Canadian version. Now I have to
Yeah,
pull
but
my
I can get a
truck
better
with
one.
me because it's the only one that has an OBG port or whatever. My van doesn't.
Got it back there. So what I'm going to do is run a thing. People buy these Mobleys, they're called, because they plan the company. So people buy this thing but don't want to necessarily put it in their car. So you can get a thing that goes from OBD2 female USB, because all it needs is power. It doesn't need anything from the vehicle. So I can take that plug, that the receptor, and put one in back there running off the auxiliary battery, and have the Wi-Fi back there. So you don't need to have an OBD2 port in your car, Bob. You can hotwire one.
Oh, that's great, man. I'm gonna have to pick one of those up.
And then if you alternatively, like I don't want to unplug it because then it'll lose power and I'll lose my internet and whatever. But anyway, there's a little port on there. I could pick the little rubber door off, and it's got that SIM card, and I could put that SIM card into a Verizon Jack or some other type of device. I could probably even stick it in a phone.
Really?
Restricted to just that form factor.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And that could allow the gun show loophole tour to have internet. So like now I would probably be trying to steal Wi-Fi from that restaurant, or I'd be looking maybe across the street. There's like a big Trader Joe's. I don't know if they do, to be close enough to the building to steal their Wi-Fi and hope that it's free, and then hope that it's good enough to jump and everything to do live calls. But this thing's gonna change that. So I would highly recommend this. If the AT&T website, they do it in, I guess, small units or something, small batches, so it's not always available. And I guess I heard about it from a friend who pays attention to like web's kind of offers. So if it's not something that's always available, keep an eye out for it. And that could, $20 a month unlimited internet's pretty nice.
Yeah, that sounds like a hell of a deal. I'm gonna have to check into that. AT&T, eh? All right.
All right.
Yep,
So
AT&T.
I guess we're changing subjects then over to equipment, hardware, software.
No, we were just talking about it.
No, I'm not talking to you
Well,
specifically. I'm talking
Cliff in here now too.
Yeah, we got Clover Tech in now to talk about what he uses for his broadcasts, right?
Yes, sir.
So you use like a separate mic and a separate camera, or you just run off your laptop?
I do. I use currently a Logitech. What is it? The Logitech C270 webcam, which is a 720p. The camera that is on this laptop that I use for my live stream stuff, it's just like an old 480. It looks like crap. So, but this is an old camera I've got. Like I said, it's 720p. I'm going to be upgrading probably with the next couple of weeks. My plan is to get a 1080. I just don't know that my internet connection here, because I'm only on 5 meg DSL. It's all that's available where I'm at. And I don't know how well that's going to do trying to stream 1080p. So I'm going to get one and try it, but I may have to go back to this 720 camera ultimately.
Okay. Like that, if you get that better camera though, can you not turn it down and probably still get a little bit better performance?
You know, it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. It kind of depends on what, several factors. I mean, if I get a bigger, better camera, the question is going to be the drivers and what is required system wise to run that camera. Is it going to be more intensive than what I've got? So I'm not only dealing potentially with an internet issue, but also with a PC issue. And I think I'm stretching the limitations of this laptop as it is. So,
oh yeah, I hear that.
but I generally, and then I use a boom arm, obviously with Audio Technica ATR 1100, which is a unidirectional microphone. And the reason I use that is because here in the man cave, it is. I've got an AC running. I'm in Texas, so it pretty much runs 24/7, 365. And with any type of an omnidirectional mic, you get way too much noise off of that AC unit. Whereas with this unidirectional, it's only picking up what's right there in front of it. So you get a lot better sound, and they're actually cheap. I did, in preparation for this discussion, over on my website, clovertac.com, there's a section, my blog section, is Clovertac Thoughts. And I did link drop in there the vast majority of the equipment I use for all of my stuff. I did link drop in there. So if anybody's interested and want to check that out. And then for podcasts, when I do podcasts, obviously I have to tie in, guests. I usually do it on my cell phone, but I have to tie in them to the podcast and everything else. And for that, a company called MakerHeart makes a little pocket mixer that works real well for that. So you can do a lot of things like we all do here on Gun Channels and get set up for very little money. It's really not that big of a deal. Now, when you get into production videos, that's a different story.
Let me ask you a question or two here. So your microphone, are you running that directly into your laptop or your computer, or are you running that into a separate hardware box?
Here on the live stream now, it is directly into the laptop. The only time that the mixer comes into play is if I have to add a source. And I just recently got that mixer. So that's an addition to my podcast setup that I've been waiting on. Until then, I used a splitter that I soldered together with the help of Radio Shack before they closed. Soldered me up basically a mic splitter. But the audio levels were really weird. There was a lot of work to have to do post-production. And that's one thing to mention about, when you're doing video. If it's a live stream, it's not that big of a deal. But especially in production stuff, if you can get your audio and video right from the source, it's going to save you a lot of time and pain and anguish, because trying to fix all that post-production is sometimes a nightmare.
Okay, and you mentioned a piece of software that you were using on your phone as a mixer. Is that correct?
No, I've got a. It's actually a little pocket mixer. The company that makes it is it's called Maker Heart, and it's just the Maker Heart pocket audio mixer, and it runs off of two AAA batteries. It's got three inputs and an output on it. It's got two inputs and then an auxiliary input, and then of course an output. And so you can run a music source into it and a couple of mics, let's say, and do like a podcast. And you're able to adjust audio levels and do everything else. So that's what I use. I run my phone, the mic for my phone. I actually run up to the boom arm that I've got. And then that way I've got two mics there. I've got the mic that actually records my audio for the podcast, and then the caller, whoever I'm interviewing, they're actually picking up that audio through the additional mic. It's a little lapel mic. Vid Pro is the one that makes that little lapel mic, and it's actually clipped to the boom arm. And then all that runs down into my phone, and then the audio from the phone comes off the headphone jack in the phone and runs into the mixer along with my microphone. So I'm able to adjust both levels. So
that sounds really handy.
It's a little bit of a complicated rig to explain. If it was all laid out and you was able to see it, you would understand. But
right, well, that was something I was going to ask you there, and this is kind of a little side note, but like, how did you learn how to hook that stuff up, in series and go from here to there, whatever? Was that just trial and error, or did you have any type of resources that kind of helped explain how to get phone calls on audio, or how to like?
Well, I've been around tech and IT and that sort of stuff by trade for about 20 years, so that certainly helps. Not specifically audio equipment, more on the PC side, but I've been around it. So the rest of it was, a little bit of trial and error, especially the adapters I built before I got the mixer and stuff like that. It was a little bit of a trial and error, trying to ohm out, trying to get pinouts on jacks and things like that.
All right, very cool. But you just, sounds like you had some decent knowledge and then you built from there.
Sure.
Which, I mean, that's the thing. I'm trying to, not to discourage someone if they're sitting there going, oh, geez, I don't even know any of this stuff. Just try it, see what happens.
The biggest thing, and with all new creators, what I tell them, they're like, how do I get started? What do I need? And it's like, just get a camera, get a mic, get it turned on, and get out there. Work on your quality, upgrade your equipment. I by no means have expensive equipment. I guess the most expensive thing, my production cameras that I actually do videos with, I've got a Canon and a Sony and then a GoPro. Of course, I use the GoPro Hero Plus, which is well under $200. And then both of those cameras are right at about 200, maybe 220 a piece. So, and that's the most expensive pieces of equipment I have. So, I mean, even with all of my cameras and everything else, I would say I'm probably somewhere in the maybe $700 to $800 range. And I mean, that's over the course of years. So,
right. You kind of upgraded a piece here and there or whatever.
Yeah, sure. And everybody has to, I mean, it went where we just had standard definition at one time, and that was good enough, to 720 HD. Now, predominantly everything that you see is in 1080, 1080p. And there'll be a time that everything is going to have to be 4K. It's coming. It's quite a few years away, I think, but it's coming.
So I've heard you using the microphone that you're not currently using right now. And the audio quality is pretty darn good. What, if you don't mind me asking, what did it cost for that sort of microphone to get that sort of quality?
For which are you talking about? Is there a specific video or
for the table mic you have?
For the bench audio? Talking about where I'm doing like the
not
reloading.
The Logitech.
Well, that's just the camera, though. That doesn't have anything to do with the mic.
Okay, you have this.
Are you talking about my live streams? And you're talking about the one on the boom
Yes.
arm?
Yes.
That's the Audio Technica. That's the one I'm talking about. That's the Audio Technica ATR 1100. It's about a $15 microphone.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it's exceptional. I've got 3 of them. It's exceptional. They're exceptional for the money.
Yeah.
Can't beat them.
And you get those online?
Yeah, you can get them Amazon, eBay, just about anywhere. Now they don't come with the spit guard, you know, the little foam thing, and that helps with your breathing and other stuff on it. So you definitely want, but you can pick up a package of 10 of those for like, I don't know, $5 or something. They're cheap.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
you know, you're looking at less than $20. You know, you can get the microphone and then a package of those covers, mic covers.
That's right on, man. Check
And then if you're feeling froggy and you want something like the boom arm or something like that, you know, the boom arms are, you know, $15 to $20 too. You can get those, and they're real handy because you can move your mic back and forth and out of the way and just move it around however you want.
Yeah, that actually sounds really handy.
I remember as a kid, my dad had a desk lamp that had an arm like just like the boom mics, where it's got like the springs in between them. It kind of holds it in place. You just kind of push it out of the way, and you know it articulates 3 different ways and all that stuff. And I've always considered digging that up out of his basement if I ever got an external mic and like just taping the mic to the side of the lamp or something.
Yeah, I mean that would definitely be a cheap way to do it. On that blog post I was talking about, at the bottom I actually put a picture because I've got 3 different rigs that I built. One is a podcast rig, and that holds my external speaker in the mic and my phone. It's even got a phone cradle on it. All these are made out of PVC, by the way, pretty readily available parts. And then I've got a 2-handed camera rig, which works a lot better for steadying shots, so you can sweep across an area, you know, with the camera, or maybe even do a small 360 or something. And then for my bench videos, if you ever watch those on my YouTube channel, you'll notice it's an overhead camera angle. And I actually built an overhead camera rig basically out of PVC pipe and a few other parts. And I've got a picture of all of those. And if anybody out there needs more detailed information, you know, measurements and whatever, well, just hit me up and I can get you those. But yeah, I'm not opposed to making, you know, things if you need to. That's perfectly fine.
Right. I think that's the big thing. And that's, you kind of mentioned earlier when people say like, how do I start? And they might be intimidated by someone who has like a professional studio type stuff and think that you need all that stuff to start. And I keep hammering down that just do it. It's not the end of the world. I mean, I use just a regular, you know, headset plugged into my computer here. If I use a camera, I just turn on my laptop camera. You know, it's not the best, but I'm not really on camera, so it doesn't really matter. But
right.
Well, actually, hang on a second. It is a Sadie's headset.
Those are decent.
So I picked it off of Amazon. I think Never Enough Ammo was talking about it, and someone else talked about it, and they said, "Oh yeah, I got these," and I was like, "Okay, I'll give it a shot." Because I originally was using my laptop microphone with the speakers, and I'd get really bad echo. There was a thing on my computer where it would hear the speakers and think I was talking and automatically adjust my mic sensitivity all the way up to 100.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would manually turn it down and the echo would go away and people could still hear me fine when I was talking, and it would gradually turn itself back up. And I could not find a feature that says, you know, stop auto tune or whatever. Like I could not figure out on the Windows software how to get it to stop doing that. So if anyone else is having echo problems with their laptop, it might be something like that, and maybe it's time to just get a headset.
Yeah, you have to watch the audio settings. You know, some laptops, they have the sound card in them actually has an audio mixer, and if that's enabled, sometimes that'll bleed sound from one device to the other, and things like that. So, you know, there's some little particulars that you have to mess with sometimes. It's fairly rare, but it does happen. Now, you know, what you say is right. I mean, as far as what most of us guys do on gun channels, it's a matter of a webcam and a headset. Really, that's all you need. It's really easy to get started. Now, if you get into production videos, again, I fall back into as long as your value proposition is there, as long as you're offering that viewer, you know, something for watching, be it, you know, education or entertainment or whatever. You know, the production value, it doesn't have to be a George Lucas film. I mean, it can be, as long as it's decent production quality, you're okay. You know, so you can get by with, you know, a couple $100 camera, probably $100 worth of software, you know, and you're ready to go as far as making actual YouTube videos.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. That's part of the reason we have this segment in here of how to use social media, is to try and encourage people to get out there and start making gun related content. Because the more that's out there, especially if you have some type of channel or whatever that has other stuff, you know, you're showing the people you work with your family picnic over the weekend or something. And then they also happen to see one of your other videos of you and your kids at the range or whatever. Then when the media tries to demonize gun owners as being, you know, conspiracy theory, rednecks, blah, 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 whatever, those people kind of in the middle will say, well, wait a minute, I know this guy and he's normal and he likes guns. So it kind of helps break down that narrative.
Yeah, it does. Definitely. And I know quite a few people that, you know, they do it, but they don't really want to put it out there, so to speak. They'll upload their stuff to YouTube, and it's like you say, it may be, they may have went to the range today, and then 3 days ago it may be a family birthday party or something, you know, that they upload or whatever. And they just basically do it to share it with their friends and family. And I mean, they don't want to put it out there. A lot of folks are that way. They're a little bit timid. And it gets that way. I mean, when you're talking about, especially coming into here, because I'm the new guy here, and, you know, I come into here and most of you guys are, you know, as far as your YouTube channels go, I mean, look at Matt, look at, yeah, especially Yankee. I mean, just unbelievable sub counts and view counts and everything else, you know. And so it's a little bit intimidating. You come into a situation like that. And I mean, I've sat in on Matt's show a number of times, probably will tonight. And, you know, it's just crazy to think that, you know, I don't want to say that compared to me, he's a rock star, but I guess in a sense, you see what I'm saying, that his channel and his reach and his sub count and his views and stuff are just so big compared to mine that there's an intimidation factor that goes in. And the thing about here on gun channels for the guys out there that are thinking about doing this is it's a very nurturing environment to get started, as opposed to just throwing yourself out on YouTube and possibly picking up trolls and everything else. You know, at least here, if we've got, you know, if we get trolls here, usually you've got people that have your back. So.
So, Clover, is there anything that we didn't ask you that you think for somebody starting up a channel needs to know or should be aware of?
No, I think we covered it. You know, I think the easiest thing to do, like I said, is grab a webcam, a headset, get you a gun channels account, and just get after it. Okay.
Well, I certainly want to thank you for coming on today's show. You're certainly welcome to stay on for the balance of the show. We certainly like to have you along, but if you need to cut out, that's certainly fine as well. And on that note,
well, actually, I real quick there, I was going to ask the other panelists before we move on. I kind of mentioned I just use a Sadie's headset, but you know, Too Hottie, what kind of equipment do you have?
My equipment is very minimal. Right now, I'm talking to you guys on an iPhone 5S and a pair of Apple earbuds.
Oh, I see how it is. You're Mr. Fancy.
You know, that's something we didn't mention. But, you know, when I say all you need is a webcam and a headset, that's all built into your phone nowadays. So, I mean, it really is that simple.
Yeah, too true. All I use most of the time is just my Sony laptop, and I've got a set of Logitech speakers that have their own volume control, so I don't get as bad an echo from just using the laptop speaker.
No, that's a good point. But I don't know, Daniel, did you mention what you use?
Oh, it's just a basic Logitech webcam and speaker. Nothing's fancy. I also use a Voicemeeter as a mixing board for an app that I was about to shoot off, but I'll withhold it just at the last minute.
Okay. And what about G-Webs? Do you have anything to add to this topic?
No, because I'm just using a laptop or my phone without anything. So I'm debating whether or not to spend money on a microphone. Like right now, is there a lot of background noise?
Not much.
Yeah, there's a little bit. And
Yeah, not so much background. It's more just you're very quiet.
Yeah, I'm at things way over there. So, but anyway, I'm just using typical stuff too. So I'm curious about a segment like this to hear what the return on the investment is to spend money, because I know it's not a lot of money. I'm just wondering how much bang for your buck you get for the investment.
well, I think it seems like you get a pretty good return, at least from watching Clover's stuff. It's definitely pretty good quality, and especially if you're only talking, a few $100 for everything or whatever, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, really. His quality is better than just off the laptop. That's for sure.
Oh.
Yeah, and you got to realize you can, and this is part of what I do is, I've got sponsors and advertisers, direct sponsors and direct advertisers, and so that's what that money goes to. I don't use it. I mean, it's not enough for me to use to make a living. I can't make a living off of $20 or $30 a month or something, but over the course of a few months, you can buy a camera, or in a month you could buy a microphone. And so you just put it toward those things and gradually build yourself up. That's what you have to do. But, I can't stress enough is, if you've got anything that'll get you online and get you started, go ahead and do it, because that's going to start helping you learn your cadence in speaking and your presence on camera and not being, shy in front of the camera and, that sort of thing.
Remembering not to pick your nose while you're on camera.
I've got a problem with that, and I'm not picking my nose, but I'll scratch my nose. And I mean, if you see me do it, that's a tick. It's a nervous tick, and I predominantly only do it on live streams. I don't really do it in a production video at all when I'm in front of the camera, but for some reason on those live streams, I'm really aware my nose is there.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Well, do you guys think that some required equipment for doing anything would be like a windbreaker or something? Because sometimes, you get a little chilly, but you don't really want a full coat.
Because of that cold wind.
That's right. It's time. It's time. It's time for the Tactical Pop Quiz. So those of you over on YouTube and those of you over on Gun Channels, put your cursor down in the text box, limber up your fingers, and get ready for the question of today. Smeggy, are you available to take a look at, is my assistant official?
Yep, I
Excelente.
am ready.
All right, I'm going to warn you that you need to listen to the question very carefully, because there's one key word in the question. I will read the question twice. Who were the inventors of the 357 Magnum? Who were the inventors of the 357 Magnum?
I know.
Well, yeah, I know now.
Yeah.
No, it was not Smith & Wesson.
That would be a company.
Well, I mean, there were people. There was Smith and there was Wesson.
Right.
But they were not the inventors.
That was wrong century.
I don't think someone else counts. Like, that's not specific enough.
Squib, 50%.
Oh, do you see Mel over on YouTube?
No, I didn't.
Oh, well.
Oh man, he overkilled it.
That's what I'm saying. Is that correct or not? He named 3 names.
It's technically, you've got one too many names in there.
And then we got an answer on Gun Channels that has only the 2 names.
I'll go with the 2. Who do we got?
All right. Well, that's what's his name? Philogent or whatever. What the heck? Whatever his name is.
Okay, Philogenter.
Congratulations.
Yeah, belligerent.
Oh, belligerent. Like, I get it. Okay, never mind. I'm an idiot. Don't mind me. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, belligerent. That makes a whole lot more sense. Congratulations. The answer that we were looking for was Elmer Keith and Philip Sharp. So congratulations, belligerent. You are today's tactical pop quiz winner of the day. Just for keeping track of who's number 1, who's number 2, who's number 3, head on over to dailygunshow.com/popquiz. Fill out the form that we have there, and so we can make sure you get the appropriate credit for being today's tactical pop quiz winner. Congratulations, belligerent.
Yeah, congratulations, man. Way to go.
Yep. And I guess by only answering 2 names instead of 3, even though Cycle Camp listed all 3 as well, so it must be somewhere on the internet that Weston had something to do with it. Anyways, that makes you the tactical hot shot of the day.
Congratulations.
And remember, if you don't like our answers, suck it up, Buttercup, because those are the ones that Dano supplies us, and we just take his word for it.
With a number of user supply questions and answers with links to the answers. So, and by the way, I want to thank you. I received some more questions and answers from Angry American. So thank you for putting forth some extra effort and helping us out with that, Angry. You're kind of one of our regular winners, so to speak, along with a few others. But your efforts are always appreciated.
Yes, definitely.
So we want to go to events, particularly the one we have a special guest here for.
Yeah, I was going to, but real quick before we get into that, between the second and third segment, taking our little break here, and I kind of mentioned the podcast Every Second Matters is coming up, as in the second of the month. So I just wanted to remind everyone that you can get Every Second Matters patches over at gearwebsites.com, and the proceeds from that help keep servers going, all that fun stuff. So get a couple patches, hand them out to your friends, put them all over the place. Could spark a conversation, especially on the second. If you're wearing a hat with it on there, someone goes, "What the heck does that mean?" You're like, "Oh, well, there you go. This good time to talk about the Second Amendment." So just a little plug there, and we greatly appreciate everyone who helps us out over at gearwebsites.com.
Definitely.
So yeah, all right, let's get into the events here. What happened over the weekend was TriggerCon, and Scotty was there, and so I'm going to ask you, how was it? What'd you do? Go ahead. I want my full report.
It was fun. It was a good event. Thursday was range day, media only, or it was supposed to be media only. Friday was the first day of the convention at the Tacoma Convention Center and was restricted to media. And then they opened it up to the public Saturday and Sunday. Kind of a smaller show, more. I talked to the guys at Rainier Arms today, and it's their intention to keep it a smaller show. They want it more intimate. That they don't want to turn this show into another SHOT Show. They like the idea of having some of the smaller manufacturers, smaller companies who are doing cool things in the industry. They like the idea of being able to have them out and not in the noise of all the big guys. So this show was Rainier Arms being the company they are. I mean, they mostly cater to ARs and other sorts of pistols. So it was kind of a AR and Glock centric show.
So a lot of kind of the tactical kind of stuff and
Plastic guns.
How many like different vendors? Was there like a list or something on the website or something? Like how many vendors were there or manufacturers?
They, I was talking to a guy at Rainier Arms over the weekend. They cap it at 120.
And although Rainier Arms has had some events in prior years, was this not like the first year for this sort of event?
This was actually the second year of TriggerCon. Rainier Arms before last year, this used to just be basically a tent sale. I'm not sure if they did it at their location down in Auburn, Washington or not, or if they actually had a different location. But it was just a tent sale, and their goal was to branch out and people involved, and that's when they rebranded as TriggerCon back in 2016 and held the first convention.
Now, were there some unusual issue in regards to displaying firearms from manufacturers?
Unusual for displaying firearms for the manufacturers?
Yeah, I thought I had heard something that there was some sort of issue that they were hoping to work out next year. Otherwise, they might look for a different location.
Okay, so that issue had nothing to do with the vendors. And the vendors were able to get their guns in and all that, no problem. The issue you're thinking of, and a lot that really kind of irked a lot of people and had a lot of people pissed off, there are no firearms and no knives policy. So in order to get into the convention, we were basically treated like we were boarding an airplane. Everything out of your pockets, get wanded with their metal detector thing, go through your bag, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, that sucks.
Yep, and talking with the guy at Rainier Arms today, met up with the company who the convention center hires to do or contracts with to do their security. And the problem was that they basically treated this event like they do, say, a concert.
Yeah, a bunch of drunk people.
Right. So what they're doing is they're having meetings with the bigwigs at that security company to either force them to change their policy or at least make an exemption for them in order for them to be able to allow us to be able to carry in there. Or they said if the company just won't budge, if they won't budge and what they say is what they say, they're going to take their business elsewhere.
Oh, good for them.
So what were a few of the products that you thought were either very innovative or that was the first you'd ever seen that were quite impressive?
A few things that really stand out to me is a company called Deadfoot Arms. They make a folding stock for an AR, and you can fire your weapon with the stock folded. Proprietary buffer tube. It does take a proprietary bolt, and so they shorten up the bolt a little bit. And then their proprietary buffer tube and buffer spring assembly. And the cool thing that I found out after talking with the owner of the company is you can actually send your bolt into them and they'll modify it to their specs, and it knocks a good portion of the price off, or a good chunk of money off the overall price of the kit.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's I was going to mention. I saw them at the NRA show, so I'm familiar with what you're talking about, and I was very impressed by them.
Yeah,
And I
and, I saw them at SHOT Show. I think the first year they didn't even have a real booth at SHOT Show. They were just in the hallway. And the one thing that really impressed me is too, it's a veteran company. It's a veteran owned and operated company.
Yep, 100% veteran owned and operated. I mean, all the guys there, they're real cool, down to earth guys. They're actually the type of guys that you'd like to go out and have a beer with.
Exactly. Yeah, I talked to them a bit too at SHOT Show, and yeah, I was very impressed with just they're just regular guys, and they came up with this really genius idea. I think. I mean, that's the one thing that I've always seen as a failure with the AR platform was the inability to have a folding stock that you could fire it with stock folded. So I was, really, really impressed with what they did. And basically how they're doing it. These are just regular guys who just came up with a neat idea and decided they're going to market it themselves and do it themselves. So, yeah, good.
Well, yeah, and the idea for the product was born in Iraq. Whoever developed it, I'm not going to say what service he was in because I don't want to say the wrong one. But yeah, he was serving in and out of vehicles, and the idea for the product was kind of born on the battlefield.
Yeah, I definitely I did really enjoy that. Like I said, when I was talking with them, what I liked was, being a engineer myself, and I started talking the actual specifics, and they were very open to kind of talk about exactly why they did a certain thing this way or a certain thing that way, and like I said, I was impressed with it. So
yeah, and I'm kind of a visual guy, and I'm into graphic design and whatnot, so their logo really caught my eye. And I started talking to a gentleman there about it and got the whole story of the logo, and it's family, family story that goes into it. The father of the owner of the company served in World War II and got gangrene and lost a foot because he didn't tell anybody about it, didn't bitch about it, didn't whine, didn't complain, losing his foot. And that's where the name that's where the name Dead Foot Arms comes from.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't hear that part.
Were you able to get a close enough look at it that you could kind of briefly describe mechanically how it works? Because I'm trying to imagine it in my mind.
Smiggy, are you on a computer?
Yeah.
Can you get over to Pink's Instagram page?
It's a really short buffer tube, really. It's just like a 2 inches long, maybe 2.5 inch long buffer tube coming out the back of the rifle. At least the one I saw it was.
Right,
but
all the technology comes from the bolt. The bolt is basically almost like a two-piece thing, and it slides back and forth, and then there's like a chunk of buffer material attached to the bolt that it hits and slows it down.
And I'm pretty sure you can use a standard buffer on it. It's not only that little 2-inch buffer.
So
right, but that's the one for the folding thing.
When the stock is folded,
no, but
flush.
No, it actually.
Go ahead.
Oh,
I was going to say, never mind. No, you go ahead. I'm still trying to get there.
No, it actually sticks out about an inch, maybe an inch and a half, which gives you enough room to get your hand around the grip and.
Right.
Yes, I mean, so it does stick out a little bit. It doesn't fold flush. If it folded flush, that would take away the ability to shoot it with it folded.
Right.
Because you wouldn't be able to get around the grip or get to the trigger or anything.
So you had mentioned that you were there with a couple of other people. Was there anything that grabbed their attention that they thought was really different?
I know Pink is really liking the Polymer 80 guys. He's thinking about building a couple Glocks pretty soon here. and Polymer 80 they're making their own slides now. I'm not sure 100% on barrels or not. But other than that, I'm like 99, 100% sure that they're going to start offering every other component that you need in order to complete that build.
That's cool.
I'm trying to see. I guess he doesn't have a picture like of just the bolt and stuff, but I did find Pink's Instagram here. All right. Sorry, I have a lot of different windows open, but one thing I wanted to ask you about the TriggerCon is, were they selling anything, or was it just like a whatever you call it?
No, they were selling things. And I want to say basically everybody.
What happens if you bought a knife there? You're not allowed to carry knives in.
There was
there were no knives,
there.
just guns.
Yep, there was no knives. But I'm pretty sure dang near everything was for sale. Every booth was offering, show pricing and all that. And if somebody wanted a gun, and wanted to purchase it, I know that Rainier Arms had set something up with either their store in Auburn or a business that they have a relationship with that was local, that people could even grab a gun if they wanted to.
Oh, do the transfer and everything.
Yep.
All right. So
yes,
not.
Right. Yeah. I just wanted to go back. So this is the part that screws in. This is the part that folds. So yeah, you still have like all this part that sticks out. Then you got the bolt, and then this is that buffer thing, and there's the two different springs that this slides back, then hits that, and then it slows it down.
So it's a dual spring system, one inside of the other, dual coiled. Is that correct?
I think we just lost. No, he's back. Yeah, it is a dual coil system, Dano, and that's how they can get away with it. Having, like I say, it's like that. What normally sticks out, 8 inches out of the back of the AR, your buffer tube. Like if you're in an AR pistol, it's got a tube out the back. What normally sticks out like that, now it's much shorter, and allows you to have a folding stock.
That 4 or 5 inch spring must be very stout to be able to send the bolt hard enough forward to be able to pick up that round and go back in the battery.
Man, sorry about that. I crashed out for a second, so
that's fine.
But anyways, so
you have the microphone.
Yeah, it seems like I'm back now. So what else, Scotty? Would let me ask you this: would you recommend people go to TriggerCon, even just just the part that's open to the public and all that stuff, if they're in the area, or is it something that's cool enough that you would recommend they travel, across country to go see, type of thing?
I would have to say, if you're in the area, definitely go. If you're close to the area, it's worth a little bit of a trip. But just you cannot go to it expecting it to be SHOT Show, or you're just going to be disappointed.
Right. I kind of like the idea though that it's smaller. I feel like then it gives you, you mentioned like an intimate or whatever. It gives you more time to actually talk with the manufacturers. Some of them that, like you said, maybe don't get the huge spotlight at, NRA show or at, some of the other ones.
Or they don't even get invited to those sorts of shows.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, this is one thing I mentioned about being at SHOT Show is it's so big, it's overwhelming. You're just running your ass off just to see all the booths. without even spending time with them. So it'd be a lot, I'm sure it's a lot nicer to be able to actually take your time and talk to the dealers rather than just, running from booth to booth. Look, take a couple of pictures. I've got questions. Run to the next one. Because that's kind of what it feels like when you go to SHOT Show.
Yeah,
so big.
And that's definitely something that I have to say about it is with this being my first experience at a show like that on the media side, or shit, at a show like that, period. It was the perfect size to be able to go and watch Marco and watch Pink, just do their thing. And them guys are awesome at what they do. Being able to stop by a booth, get all the information, take their pictures, hang out for 2 seconds as they're doing an Instagram post with all the proper tags and all the right information as they're walking to the next booth, and just do it over and over and over. But this was a great size show for me, being a first timer, to go and be able to learn from them guys and not be completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, definitely sounds fun. I mean, like I said, I was considering going. My schedule just didn't work out for it, but maybe some other time. I don't know.
And it was awesome getting together, meeting other gun channels guys. I mean, that's
always fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the big perks of gun channels, is you get to go meet up with other guys and that have like interests and might be all over the country or even in some cases the world. And yeah, that's why we love gun channels.
Yep, and over the course of however long you're on gun channels for, you're in chats with all these people. So by the time you guys actually have the chance to meet up, I mean, you're already friends. You already have a rapport built, and
yep,
it's just an awesome thing.
All right, well, that sounds pretty cool. I didn't really see any questions or anything out there about it. So one of the things I'm going to move on, since this is the the event segment. Yeah, we had a special event here, but we also like to let people know what's coming up in the future. And you can find that if you're over on Gun Channels. You can, up at the top, go to resources and go down to firearm calendar. And it basically brings you a list of events that are coming up. You can add all sorts of different things, even local gun shows, big giant events, little, shooting range things, whatever. It actually doesn't seem like there's too much in the near future. The next one that's listed here is August 26th, the 9th annual CCDL Family Picnic. And I believe that's the, what the heck was that? The Connecticut Citizens Defense League.
Yep.
Yeah, I looked it up earlier. Yep. Yeah, because it's Cycle Camp. So that's apparently a family picnic. I don't know if it's like a fundraiser type thing for them or if it's just to get together. That's the other thing. You can go to the events. Normally there'll be links to the website. You can get more information about that. After that, CCDL Second Amendment Poker Run, September 9th. Also on September 9th is the Bullpup Shoot, which I believe that's over in Illinois. And I think that's day at the range. Bunch of manufacturers bring some stuff out, let you shoot it, and I believe they sell accessories and stuff there, so you can kind of try some stuff out and then buy some of it. September 16th, the Tombstone Territorial Days. I guess that's like a cowboy kind of thing or something. I think G-Web's added that.
No.
I would guess.
It's kind of like a town event.
And then Texas International Firearms Festival is September 30th. So, I mean, we're already a couple months away here, but that's a thing to do. Gun Rights Policy Conference, October 1st. That is an awesome thing to go to. So I wanted to at least get to that. It's all the gun rights groups together in one room, talking strategy, talking successes, failures, learning from each other. networking after the fact. I mean, it just if you want to see
What's
all the
odds
heavy
of
hit.
gun?
I'm sorry, was that you, Webs?
What's the odds of all of us hosts of the Daily Gun Show showing up in Dallas for that?
I'm hoping to. I'm definitely possibly going.
It's possible.
Is Dano still in here?
Yes.
I'll give you this brownie if you go.
Yeah, I do have a weakness for food. That's evidenced by my middle.
Because that brownie might not be in that good a shape by then.
Hell, I think you should give him that brownie if he goes to the bullpup shoot. Small steps.
Ooh, if you go to the bullpup shoot, you got to shoot that Desert Tech 308.
I may think about it.
308's a pretty big caliber for Dano. You know, he only shoots 9mm normally.
It's all about shot placements. It's not the size of the wand, it's the magic in it.
Yeah, that's what the girls tell you. It's not what they believe.
Well, I just want to do a couple more. I know we're kind of in the future. We can touch on these next time, but the Ohio Cartridge Show is October 6th, and the Trinity Site Tour is October 7th. Yeah, what the heck? I'll do Knob Creek too. Knob Creek Machine Gun Shoots October 13th. And what's this? NASGW Expo is October 17th. I don't know what NASGW is.
National Association of Sporting Goods Wholesalers. So that's the one that's like SHOT Show, except for sporting goods stores instead of gun shops. So it's like canoes and tents and stuff instead of shotguns and rifles. The boots and a lot of the stuff is there from SHOT Show, like Spyderco and all the knife companies, all the flashlight companies. All the clothing and stuff will be there, and the boots. But then add like stuff for dogs and going boating and bicycling and that kind of stuff. That's in Salt Lake City every year.
Oh,
Your audio's got much better there.
yeah. Although there was more road noise also.
It was
but
a dashboard like this. It's that better.
we can hear you a lot better. Yeah, you were pretty quiet before.
So okay, that's the
All
event.
these events now, these events all have in common.
We talk
What's that?
about.
I can't hear Bob. Anyway, all these events are technically approachable or reachable by the Gun Show Loophole Tour now. Hopefully. So definitely include events in the calendars over there.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's a good point. So we'll do another call out for people to add stuff to events, and that can help planning. Not even just Gun Show Loophole. I know I put a local, gun show like over the weekend. Like, oh, hey, there's a gun show this weekend, and that's how I first met Squib. I found out he was planning on going there, and me and my buddy decided to go there, and we met up with him. So it's an easy way to kind of meet up with different gun channels people, or just, find out about something that you didn't know about. So I encourage people to even put in their local gun shows or whatever. It doesn't have to be a huge, big national event. So I think that wraps up events. We want to go on to something else. Gun of the day, maybe?
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's talk about the gun of the day. This one's kind of a special tribute for Matt, because we know he loves his Tauruses. And it's a Taurus 66 357 Magnum revolver. Also kind of ties in with the question of the pop quiz. So yeah, I don't know. Taurus is they copy stuff. It's pretty much looks like a Smith & Wesson. Smith & Wesson. But they're a good gun. I mean, the Tauruses I've owned and have played with seem to have been quite, reasonable quality guns for a decent price. So, and 357 Magnum, of course, is one of the, premier, even though it's old, calibers for self-defense. and can be used for small game hunting up to, you know, deer.
Now, are they still having intermittent issues with fit and finish issues, especially on the stainless models?
That I couldn't tell you. I really haven't played with them much recently. I've been more into the traditional Browning type stuff. So, yeah, it's been a few years since I played with them, but I don't know. I know someone like Yankee might not like it because he's like obsessed with finish and polishing stuff and that. But
And like quality or whatever, but you know.
yeah. But I mean, it's you're not paying top dollar. Do you expect, you know, top end finish? No. But I mean, as long as it works, it's reliable, it looks good. I don't have a problem with them. And like I say, I've had experience with some Tauruses, some earlier ones, and they've been really good. So yeah, I think they're a decent gun, and I love the, you know, classic double action revolver. So
Clover, do you have don't you have quite a bit of knowledge in regards to revolvers?
I don't, not necessarily.
I'm sorry, I must be thinking about somebody else. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I mean,
I
a
thought
little,
you-
but I mean, not necessarily.
Are you thinking of me, Dano? Because if Clay's out there listening, he would say that I am the revolver expert, and I do see him over in the chat. So
So for our two guests, just you know, generally speaking, have you ever owned or shot a Taurus of any variety? And if so, what have been your thoughts in regards to fit and finish?
Well, I have, I own and have shot many. I don't want to say owned because I don't ever get rid of anything. One of my daily carries is a Taurus protector poly. I bought my wife one, and then I liked it so much that I bought it, and I carry it. I swap it out with my Glock 42 occasionally. And I'm trying to remember. I've got a talking about the 357. I've got a Taurus tracker in 44. A fit and finish. I mean, it seems to be a really solid revolver. It being a 44 supported barrel. I haven't shot it a lot because it's just a 44 to me is uncomfortable. So I'll run a cylinder through it every now and then, just playing around. But haven't had any issues. I've got several Taurus revolvers in 38s, on several in the PT 1911 and PT 92 stuff that are pretty nice. Never had any issues. And then I own a couple, like I said, of the older 357s, and I can't remember the model. I'll have to go back and look. There's like a 3-digit model, I think, on the older ones. They mimicked the Smith & Wesson model numbers, if I recall.
Right.
well, they certainly are good at mimicking other people's stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to say it's like a 689 maybe or something like that. It sounds like a Smith & Wesson model number, but it's not.
Right.
And I love that one. I mean, it's a sweet revolver.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I like. What I've always found is that they function great. They shoot good. So yeah, I mean, and I'm not one of these people who's really into, you know, finish and everything like that. I mean, I like a nice finish on a pistol, but I don't care. I care about whether it shoots and how well it shoots.
Well, it's like anything. You have to go into Taurus knowing that it is what it is. You know, a Taurus is not a Smith & Wesson. And as long as you understand that a Taurus is not a Smith & Wesson, then I don't think you're going to be disappointed.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And for me, the first gun I ever bought was a Taurus PT 111 Millennium Pro. That was before I had my carry license, and I got my carry license shortly after getting it, but I don't know that I ever carried it. I didn't have it for too long before I got rid of it. You know, it was a decent little gun, but that double strike capability on the trigger gave it just such a spongy, shitty trigger that I didn't care for it.
And I think that's something that's common with most guns that have the double strike capability, is they have kind of funky triggers.
Okay, well, there's the gun of the day, the Taurus 66.
Yep, nice little revolver. And 357 Magnum, which everybody knows, that's one of the best carry calibers in the world.
All right, so I asked out there for movie of the day, which we didn't have one in there, and the only response I got was Jaws.
It's an M1 Garand and some kind of harpoon gun.
It's got a greener harpoon gun, a Smith & Wesson Model 15, and an M1 Garand.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a gun movie. I don't know. I mean, we did just finish up Shark Week. That was last week.
But shark movie. I'm pretty sure that would be considered a shark movie.
Yeah.
Well, if you haven't seen Jaws, I would recommend you see it. I mean, it was a pretty good movie.
Oh,
Can
absolutely.
it be a sense that it would have been solved a lot easier if they would have had like an M16 on board one of them boats?
Oh, I doubt that would have done much good on a shark.
What? They were taking a shark out, no problem.
What, with a gopher round? Come on. Like M16, it's only good for shooting things like mackerel.
Get him like right in the
Did
eye.
Bob just say an M16 wouldn't take out a whitetail shark? Or wait.
Yeah,
Yes.
great white. Yeah, that's exactly what Bob said, because Bob doesn't understand anything.
I'm
He
not
also
talking
said
about
it's only good for mackerel.
when it comes up to bite you, I mean, not when it's swimming around.
We all know the best round to shoot through water is something like really fat and slow. So you'd want to use like a 45 ACP, you know? Something that's barely moving, just kind of waddles through the water and then plunk. And it's a
Where
big
do you
hit
get
for it.
the totally non-scientific facts? That you
Yeah,
seem to-
that's like the exact opposite what you want for water. Water you want really long and skinny. That's why they made.
You don't want
It-
high velocity because high velocity stops almost instantly when it hits water. Look at Mythbusters. They did a whole thing on it. They found an old Civil War rifle worked better in water than a 50 cal.
And in the universe of
True.
Bob, that
But
might be
you're
true.
also not like what G-Wub said. You're shooting at it when it comes up to the surface to bite your boat or whatever. You're not shooting at it when it's 60 feet below the water because
60
nothing's
feet
going to go down there.
Yeah, but there, one thing that you're not mentioning is you're not mentioning the displacement of energy, and slower and larger has a bigger displacement of energy than small and fast.
Yeah, but water's not compressible, so when small and fast hits water, it just self-destructs.
Right. Whereas like I said, the slow and large would actually move through it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're agreeing with
Yeah,
me.
but it's still only going to go down a little bit though.
I'm not
It's
used
still
to
gonna
that
slow
one.
down a lot because you have a lot less extra drag because you have the bigger diameter.
I'm
So
gonna
I'm
agree.
gonna modify.
I'm gonna agree with Bob. If I had to shoot a crazed great white shark, I would do it with a Garand, not an M16.
Well, now you're
if
never
he was
invited to the
water-
show again, but that's okay. It was nice having you.
Unless
I'm just not used to that. I thought he was disagreeing with me, and it turns out he was agreeing with me. I was confused.
And I'm going to suggest the underwater AK.
Yeah, I'm gonna go first.
Regardless of what the ladies tell you, bigger is better. Okay.
Yeah, because women lie.
Okay, Bob. Now that we've lost, our last, female viewer, why don't we go ahead and move on?
At the Daily Gun Show, not the rest of us.
Yeah, the views and opinions expressed by Biker Bob do not necessarily reflect those of the Daily Gun Show.
So
Well,
we ready to wrap it up.
My comment was about women liking 9mm. What are y'all talking about?
Yeah.
I just want to read out a couple things here real quick. So someone's got the great white equals water gophers. It was from Grand. I thought that was funny. And then Sedley over on the YouTube side says, I'd use a full conceal foldable Glock. He won't see it coming. So maybe this should be a topic of one of the good idea, bad idea or something. Guns on a shark.
Like what gun could you use for a shark?
That'd be kind of fun. But anyways, yeah, I think that wraps up the movie of the day. I noticed also we didn't have a gun shop in there unless the number 5 is a gun shop. I think someone just accidentally typed something. So I'm going to put one of our guests on the spot. So either Hottie or Clover, what's a gun shop that you like to go to or you think's cool?
I can take this one.
Go
All
ahead.
right, go for it. Thanks.
After TriggerCon this weekend, I gotta say, Rainier Arms. They're a local shop to me. If you're into ARs, if you're into Glocks, they have what you need. Cool product, cool people.
Do they have a retail front that the general public can just walk right on in?
And a picnic table and a coffee pot for Dano?
Yes, they do have a retail location. I don't know about the picnic table and coffee, but I have seen couches in there. So,
Wow, couches. All right, so Rainier Arms, I'm assuming that's .com.
You just blew Dano's mind. Now he's going, couches? I could stay there forever.
You could sleep on that.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep on this decision overnight. Just turn off the lights when you're done.
How many shops have we talked about that have TVs going? That either play movies or videos of some sort or something? Because if you have couches, sometimes those shops have a TV.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. And then, you know what would be cool is if the shop played our movie of the day. Someone get on that. Get some TVs going on gun shops and play the movies.
Yeah, they could just play, Daily Gun Show. Gun channels could just be on there,
Oh, I'm trying to pull up the website here for Rainier Arms. My computer's being real slow. I got too many tabs open and stuff, but
Just close all the porno ones, and then you'd have lots of.
I don't have any of those open. Come on.
Yeah.
Classy show.
Well, it used to be.
Oh, Dano, I've been here from the start. It's never been that classy.
Whenever you're not. All right. Any chance of that coming up? Otherwise, we're pretty much at the end unless you have something else.
I think that's about it. I mean, I did find it here, but I was looking for like pictures and stuff of the shop. I don't see any right off the top of that. So, anyways, yeah, I guess check out Rainier Arms if you're in the Washington area.
RainierArms.com.
Well, there we go. I guess we're done. If nobody else has anything, we could wrap this up with our quote.
Yep.
All right. Well, before that, I just want to remind everybody we do have a Patreon account if you want to help the show keep going. Think about donating $1 or $2.
What was that, G-Wubs?
Did we do this day in history?
No, we didn't. Why, do you have something?
No, but all you gotta do is click on that link on the show notes, and then it tells you what's going on. Plus, if we wait like I don't know, another 2 minutes, I'll be in the airplane graveyard.
Okay.
Well, we'll all just sit here quietly waiting.
No, come on. I'm clicking on the link here. I'm pulling the thing up.
Snaky's
Actually-
on the ball, kinda.
Kinda. I never knew that was a link. That's always been someone else's thing. So
Oh,
I didn't know that.
I forgot. You don't do those crazy spreadsheet things.
No, I do. I just never click on the tabs that don't apply to me.
I shouldn't laugh. Neither do I.
Do 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 do.
In 1790, the U.S. Patent Office opened.
Oh, really?
That's cool because guns get patented and stuff. Let's see. I missed one. In 1760, Ferdinand Duke of Brunswick drives the French army back to the Rhine River. There's a military thing.
Go a little further ahead to where it's like more relevant, where we can.
1917, the Third Battle of, I don't know what that is, Perez, commences as the British attack the German lines. Oh crap. My thing is not scrolling very good. So in 1932, on this day, Adolf Hitler's Nazis, the National Socialist German Workers' Party, doubles its strength in legislative elections.
Oh, wow.
In 1944, the Soviet Army takes Kovno, capital of Lithuania.
Ooh. Big, tough Soviet army taking on Lithuania.
Oh,
Also,
yeah, it was a thing.
No, at that point they were taking on the Nazis.
yes.
In 1971, Apollo 15 astronauts take a drive on the moon with their Land Rover.
Oh, the moon rover. That was so cool, man. Dune buggy, four-wheel drive dune buggies and on the moon. What could be cooler?
In 1991, the U.S. and USSR sign a long-range nuclear weapon reduction pact.
Mm.
So, well, I mean, at least we're not going to be nuking each other. That's kind of neat.
No, it kind of made sense because they had enough nukes to destroy the world 10 times over each. So, yeah. They might as well reduce them, save each other some money, and they could still destroy the world twice each,
Yeah. So people who were born today in 1803, John Ericsson, the naval engineer and inventor, developed the screw propeller.
Right, he did. And that's what made the ironclad possible. Because the stern wheelers and the side wheelers were just, how do you armor something that's got big flat round wheels on either side?
And then, I don't know, a bunch of artists and stuff. 1816, George Henry Thomas. He was a Union general during the Civil War. And in 1837, William Clark Quantrill, a Confederate raider during the Civil War.
Quantrill's Raiders. Yeah.
And that is this day in history.
That's a wrap.
Well, hang on. I thought we were killing time for him to get somewhere cool.
I think he was just, he's just at the plane graveyard showing us all these planes that are never going to fly again. Well, some of them, they actually pulled one,
B-130s?
a Canberra out after something like 43 years of sitting in storage. They pulled it out, restored it, and now it's flying again for NASA. I think an RB-57, something like that.
No, he's going back to the van.
Oh, my God, is that thing long and plain.
So if you're wondering why we stretched the show out,
I think you can hear me with all the wind out there.
no, we couldn't hear a word.
It's pretty windy out there, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, with that, I think that wraps up the show.
Yep. I think let's wrap it up. And like I say, we always end with a quote. But I think I already talked about Patreon, so I just want to say, you know, make sure you get thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. So our quote today is by Theodore Roosevelt. Yes, one of my favorite presidents, one of my favorite people in history. The only man who never makes a mistake is the man who never does anything. And that's a very true words, very true words. So I want to thank everybody, and we'll see you who's listening and watching or whatever, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Cue Dano and the ending music.
PCW class every year. Practice at least once a month and carry every day. Thanks for watching. Gun website.
Really quiet.
Yeah, it is very quiet, but everyone knows that's our ending thing. So I haven't hit the button yet because I forgot that I was supposed to, and so I'm doing that now. Thanks, everyone.